Alrighty, that is my intro. Anyway, guys, hi. I know I have not posted any videos today, but I am going to be doing that now. I've been very busy. I had to do 4 hours of yard work, and I showered, ate, and relaxed for a minute before I started recording. Now, let us begin. When I last left off, Hisashi, my tongue just wanted to stop working, said that he had to call Inko. He calls her and he explains to her essentially what happened. They were running the machine again, and it's a miracle. Deku's back. Now, before I continue any further, people were talking about how I made Deku OP. Let me explain something. I was gonna leave this off for a little bit later, so it would actually help the story a bit, but I feel like it needs some explaining now before someone just comments Deku has to hold back. If not, Deku has to be careful with everything. Most of the time Deku spent in Hell, yes, he was fighting, but if he kills Hellhounds, he gets their speed, because Hellhounds are essentially very fast. If he kills a giant monster, he can get that monster's durability, or at least 75% of it. So over half and half. Now, he also, basically he kills anything that's fast, he gets their speed, he gets their strength. If he kills something that has very hard and bulletproof skin, he can get that thing's essentially toughen up his skin. So he has essentially, his skin is hard enough to be like Kirishima's unbreakable mode, but it's a bit harder than that. And, well, not a bit harder, it's a lot harder than that. He is also fireproof because of how thick his skin is now. He's very strong, yes, but he's also very fast. Most of the time he's been killing Hellhounds. I want to say at least a decade of his time he probably spent in the library, trying to actually learn more about Hell. So most of the time, he would wander around and going to libraries to learn things. He learned about different armor smithing techniques, different types of metals, different types of things. He even somewhat learned the language, which, albeit for humans, is not an easy feat. He can make out a few words, but not very many. Now, aside from that, he did that because he was trying to map out Hell, which he found a map eventually. Now, let's begin. The Ancient One Deku also killed. Since it's essentially not said how old these things can live for, I want to put it to the nearby the end of its life cycle, so it was a weaker Ancient One. But it was still powerful enough to where Deku actually had to use the big fucking gun. Now, another thing that I wanted to clear up. Now, anyways, let's begin. Deku gets home. He gets home and Mitsuki is walking outside, talking to Bakugo. As soon as that happens, she turns her head and she sees Hisashi, and she goes to actually put her hand up. But as soon as she does that, she sees who's behind him, as she drops what she was holding. And I don't remember her husband's name, but her husband and Bakugo would walk out. Bakugo saying, "Old hag, you dropped something," as he would turn his head and see Deku. He sees Deku in this type of armor, with a very scratched up bodysuit, scars, the helmet's missing, and he actually sees the wear and tear that's on his body. He sees Deku and he runs over, asking him what the hell happened to him. Weren't you gone for like, what, how? Yeah, you just stopped appearing at school one day. Where were you, man? Well, I'll explain that later, Bakugo. But for right now, I want a goddamn burger. As he would just walk inside. Bakugo is asking Deku's dad questions, and he would just simply say, that project I was working on essentially backfired. And that's all as much as he would probably be able to give. But I want to say there'd probably be a portal hero, and they would have tried using his quirk to amp up the portals. So he would probably be able to give at least a little bit of public information, as Deku went through a wormhole and essentially found his way back. That's probably as much as he can give them, which would still be confusing to hear. Oh, where's my best friend been? Through a wormhole and he came back. What? Anyways, so he is talking and he's actually eating. His mom is just happy that he's back, and as soon as she goes to hug him, she feels Deku immediately tense up, which is whenever she just kind of jumps backwards, asking him if he's okay. He would just say that he's fine, just normally nothing ever gets that close to him. It's been a rough century. Which she would say century? As Hisashi would explain, apparently wherever Deku went, time flows differently. He was there for exactly, how long did you say it was? 100 years, 9 months, 18 days, 7 hours, and 3 minutes. Wow, okay. How do you know I have way too much time on my hands, Dad? Now, because of this, Deku is actually talking, and he actually goes to go to bed, because he finally feels tired. He would do so, and he would wake up the next day, as he's kind of confused as to where he is, and immediately just gets told that he needs to go to school. Deku would just go, as he would walk in with his uniform. He walks into class one day, and people are staring at him. Essentially, they see Deku. He's big, he's beefy, he's around Mirio's size, but he just has more scars. People actually see him, and people would actually run up to Deku asking where he's been. He looks like he's been in the forest, and Deku would just laugh at them. As Ibarra walks up, Ibarra would ask Deku where has he been, because she hasn't been able to reach him. They were supposed to go to court counseling, and he just straight up disappeared. Deku would just look at everyone saying that he's been in hell for the last century. In fact, he's even got a bit of trinkets, as he would pull out his helmet, showing it to everyone. People don't believe Deku, and he immediately just says, alright, fine, as he walks over to the window, opens it, and immediately goes to sit on it. He does that, and he immediately falls backwards. As he falls backwards, people run over to the window, seeing as Deku just grew wings that are very demonic looking, and he also has claws. In fact, he's even sprouted a pair of horns. As Deku just standing there in the sky floating, everyone is in shock, and Ibarra actually looks horrified, as she's thinking that this is essentially everything her parents tried warning her about. Now, as soon as that happens, Deku would actually undo his wings and actually fly back into the classroom. As he does so, people are actually asking, so he figured out what his quirk was. Deku would say no, it evolved. He has been in hell. They don't believe him, and Deku would just pull out the small jar containing the imp, as proof, saying that this is a low-level demon. It is the lowest form or life form in hell, and he is actually my navigator. In fact, he helped me the last century to get out of there. So I'm not really sure what to do with him now. I could release him, but I don't know if he would survive or not. I don't even know if they need to eat here. How did you survive, anyway, Deku? Or Midoriya? Well, that's the crazier part. Apparently, you don't need to eat sleep, drink, or consume any form of nourishment there. It's just a constant cycle of survival. You can still get hurt, as he would actually show the wound on his arm that has already healed. People are asking Deku how he got that, and he would actually reach into his book bag, pulling out a very weird looking knife. People are asking Deku where he even got that, and he would say that it's their answer, as he would put it up to his skin, showing the blade, or essentially showing the knife in the hole, which concerns people, because they think that he actually went to hell now. There's a lot of proof. There's a little demon, which they're hesitant because they think it might just be some guy with a cork trapped in a jar, and then Deku pulls out the one thing that actually can solidify what they don't believe. Deku pulls out a glowing jar. People are asking what that is, and Deku would turn off the light, showing them that it's a human soul. People are asking him how he even got that, and he would say that essentially a researcher, she died in hell, and he was able to catch her soul before it got damned. Now, what do I mean by catch her soul before it got damned? Well, she killed herself in hell, so her soul was just turned into a wandering soul, essentially going aimlessly trying to find out where to go. She was a good person, but she killed herself and she was already in hell. Deku would say that he actually prevented her from essentially turning into a demon, but he's not sure what to do with this now. He doesn't feel right keeping her soul, but if he lets it go, it will just go to hell. She'll relive everything she tried to avoid by killing herself. Which Ibarra actually looks at Deku as she sees how sad he looks. She would then walk over to him, telling him that they need to talk and he needs to come to court counseling then. Because everything she's seen, it does not add up. Now, after that school day, everyone would leave and people are watching as Deku actually leaps out the window using his wings and actually flying to court counseling. I want to say it's not hosted in the school, and if you guys have ever seen I believe it was 10 Quirks Deku. I believe it was Miss Kenjo, I called her, who hosts court counseling. She would be hosting it and Ibarra would be there. Deku would arrive and Ibarra would ask Deku to explain everything. His quirk allows him to gain the strength of whatever he kills. So is it true? Deku would say yes, it's true. In fact, he's been looking up in some news articles, and it actually helps make sense with a lot of what he's seen. Those villains that have been attacking that are red, have horns, and are giants, basically they're not just some rogue, ragtag group of villains or some guy's cloning quirk mixed with a demonic-looking quirk. It's just exactly that. It's demons coming from hell. Now, he got his dad to shut down the experiment and close the portal. In fact, he crushed it himself with his bare hands. Ibarra asks what he means, and Deku would just show off what he can do. He would grab a nearby, what's something that you can destroy without looking like a douchebag? It's not really anything. They would walk in and Deku would be handed a cup of water, or a glass of water. As soon as he goes to grab it, he actually grabs it and he holds it. As soon as he puts any pressure down, he actually shatters the entire glass. As he would open his hand and actually start picking, essentially getting the shards and putting them into his hand, he would then crush them into a fine powder and show her what he means. She's looking at his hand more and she's actually confused. Deku would go on explaining that for the last century, he has been having to do certain things that he has not liked to do. Eventually, he came to terms with them and only attacked whatever tried to kill him. But even then, he still had to find places to hide and places to be. In fact, just trying to find his way back on Earth was a challenge, as he hasn't told his dad about this yet, but there were other realities there. People have been there before us. It doesn't make any sense. There's some guy there from 2095. She is asking him more about this, and before he can explain, Miss Kenjo would cut him off, saying that it's very weird seeing him here. He thought he just gave up on the entire thing. Deku would say no, in fact his dad might have a better explanation. Because let's say by this time it was public knowledge about what happened, but people still aren't believing that they're demons. They still want to believe that they're villains. Now, after this, Deku would explain everything he's been through to Miss Kenjo, and she would actually say that that's very good, but it seems that his quirk not only has evolved, but he may have accepted it, essentially helping him tap into his true power. Now, after this, Deku would tell her that that is true, and he would begin walking away, actually going home. Now, as soon as he starts walking away, he actually smells something in the air. He smells a demon. Now, as soon as he smells this, he gets really concerned, and he starts looking around. As he actually jumps onto one of the rooftops, and as soon as he gets up there, he's looking around, and he actually sees one of the demons flying his way. Which is kind of concerning, but people don't really pay attention to it, as it would immediately swoop down, grabbing Ibarra. Ibarra has just gotten out of the building, but this has not dissuaded the demon. It grabbed her, and it actually starts flying away with her. Deku would see this, and he'd immediately just create his own wings, grabbing into the building, actually launching off of it, actually zooming toward the demon. As soon as he gets close enough, the demon sees him, and it's thinking that this is his. In fact, he has backup now. That's good. Anyways, as soon as this happens, the demon is saying that he would actually slow down, thinking that Deku is another demon. And he would say that it's good that he has backup, because this girl's quirk might be a bit more difficult. Because, while Deku's been gone, some demons have actually made it to Earth. And the way they have made it to Earth is by something I will explain later. But one of the things is satanic rituals, opening up portals from hell. Those are a thing that people do in real life. In fact, many have tried in real life. It's pretty sad. Anyways, we're actually just living in hell. Now then, Deku would explain, or he catches up, and he immediately just goes to throw a punch at the demon. As soon as Deku throws a punch, the demon actually would stop flying forward and just try and go higher. As he would see Deku essentially flip upside down, looking at him, and actually start turning his way, flying straight up at him. Ibarra is freaking out, and she's trying to use her quirk, and she just starts calling Deku's name out. As soon as that happens, Deku immediately just goes to swipe at the demon, and as soon as he does so, the demon's looking at him, and he's thinking that this might be the Doomslayer they've heard about. So a lot of people who come through the portal keep talking about a myth, but that's just what it is, a myth, right? As the demon's looking around for Deku, he can't find him. He'd immediately turn his head back forward, actually meeting Deku's hand. Deku would immediately crush his skull, and the demon would let go of Ibarra. Ibarra begins falling, and she's screaming because she's about 10,000 feet in the air. That's almost 2 miles. No big deal, just pull a parachute. Anyways, now. Deku immediately begins flying down as his wings grew a size bigger. As he's flying, he's actually reaching out for her, as he would eventually be able to grab her and actually bring her towards him, smashing through a building, actually saving her life. As this happens, the demon's body is falling and it gets picked up by other demons before it can hit the ground. She's asking him what that was, and Deku would just say that was a flyer. They're annoying, and they're one of the hardest demons to kill. Not because they have armor or anything, but it's just those guys are fast and they can fly. As she's actually looking at Deku's wings, she's asking them if they got bigger, and Deku would say yes. But that's not important right now. One thing that's happening now is they think you're a target. They're targeting you for some reason. We just need to train or get stronger. She would say that she'll do that, but she also needs to study for UA next year. Deku just immediately realized that that's right. He completely forgot about UA. He would say, alright, okay. I can help you train, but we'll have to go together. But I just need to figure out why these guys are here and how they got here. As he immediately begins walking home with her. On the way, she's actually explaining a lot of what's happened while he's been gone. Bakugo's been getting a little bit more cocky, and things have been a bit weird at school. Essentially, the last time she saw him, these things may have started popping up. In fact, there's been reports of like a werewolf man. Deku would say, werewolf man? That doesn't make sense. And she would just explain she's not really sure. It's kind of weird. But as they get there, she would say goodbye to Deku, and Deku would leave. And he begins heading home, researching a lot of different things. He's seen different types of runes and different types of things in hell, but now he's thinking that this might be one of those summoning circle dealios, because the only portal in the world that ever connected to hell was his dad's. Even then, a lot of demons couldn't have gotten out, right? Anyway, guys, this was a bit more of a filler episode, but it's just introducing Deku to going back to UA, actually turning some events around, so showing that Deku's not too OP, and actually somewhat showing that Deku's still powerful, but another ability. Now, I will be leaving this off of here, guys. I'll record the next one soon. But in the beginning of the video, I cracked open a soda. Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of people know what that means. So, if you guys have any guesses, feel free to share. Because if anyone gets it right, they can put a special, well, not a special, well, probably, I'll put it in a drawing for the 800 subscriber special. Because the way I planned on doing this series, I was going to go into a bit more detail and actually give Deku a backstory for why he hates demons so much. Which people will either love or hate because I've actually had to make some changes to it. Now, these changes will overall affect the entire story. So, I hope you guys enjoy, and have an amazing day.